Lamington, perfect treat for afternoon tea. Welcome to this episode of Local for Shop, and I'm Chef Gloria. Today we're going to be making lemon. Lemon is an Australian cake made from squares of sponge cake, and this sponge cake are dipped into cocoa sauce or chocolate sauce. And when this is done, it is now coated with desiccated coconut. This gives it a distinctive texture, and I'm telling you, the taste is divine. Without having to say much, let's get into the process of making the delicious recipe. Let's get started. So I'm going to crack in all my eggs. It's also important that your eggs are at room temperature. It is very important that while handling eggs, after you've cracked your eggs, that you always clean and wash your hands and keep them dry. I've cracked all my eggs. I'm now going to add in my sugar. I'm going to whisk this until the brown stage is achieved. There's no rising agent in this recipe. I'm only going to aerate my eggs by whisking, and that means incorporating air into my eggs. That will enable my cake to rise. I'm going to whisk this until this egg mixture, sugar mixture, double in size. Imagine how our eggs has turned from golden color to pale color. We are just there. Our butter is ready. You can see that thickness is pale, is thick, so we are done with this stage. And also our butter has also doubled in size. So I'm going to scrape the sides of my bowl, incorporate my flour gently into my egg batter method. You can see our eggs are actually doubled in size, so there's a lot of air in this batter. So I'm going to incorporate that by a method called folding. So I'm not going to just whisk it up like that. I'm going to just put my flour, and this flour has been sifted. So I'm going to use the folding technique, and I'm going to fold it in. My butter has melted earlier on and now it's cold. That has been nicely folded in. It's important you don't do this for too long because that will take away the air bubbles, and we need the air bubbles for this recipe. I'm going to scrape down my edges. So I've incorporated my flour and my butter, and now it's ready for the next stage. Before I align my baking pan, I have preheated my oven to 160 degrees Celsius. Just get that to the top. Now we're going to bake until golden brown. While that is baking, we're going to make our Lamington syrup. For our Lamington syrup, I'm going to add in my milk into my heated saucepan, my sugar, and I'm going to use my whisk to just dissolve my sugar into my milk. Once this has been achieved, I'm going to be adding my butter. And then I'm going to whisk in my cocoa powder until the mixture is smooth. I'll allow it to sit on the heat for a few minutes, then I'll take it off and allow it to cool down just before soaking in my lemon tins. So I'm just going to stir this a little. I've allowed this to cool down in my saucepan before I transfer it onto my glass bowl. So I'm just going to stir this a little. It is important that you make sauce on time. You don't want to use a hot mixture on your sponge cake. So I'll still allow this to cook further. And our sponge cake has baked nicely. We're going to trim out the edges to get a proper square shape, about 35 millimeters by 35 millimeters. Perfect square. Just flip this over. We'll just flip this over and take out my parchment paper gently. I'm going to shape my sponge cake. To measure out our other cake. This next stage we're going to be assembling, and we're going to be dipping our cakes, our sponge cake, into our Lamington sauce and into our desiccated coconut. Desiccated coconut is just simply fresh coconut that was grated and then it was dried. That's our desiccated coconut. You can also make yours at home, or you can get your desiccated coconut in any convenience store. So this is what I'm going to use for this part. I have my Lamington sauce here, which I've allowed to cool down already. So we have to move from here to here to here, and they're here. So I have this over here. I'm going to take any of my Lamington, dip in my cocoa, my Lamington sauce, not for too long, just so that it can have can absorb a little of that syrup, and then we're going to use our spatula and just kind of rub that in. And then we're going to take that out into our cooling rack, allow that to cool out. Our Lamingtons are ready, and now let's taste. My goodness, they're super delicious. The sponginess of our cake and the coating of our chocolate sauce and our desiccated coconut, all of these give this a distinctive texture and flavor. It's super delicious. And you can see the coating of our chocolate didn't go into the middle of our Lamington. That's why I said when we're making this recipe, you don't have to soak your cake in the chocolate sauce for too long. If not, the sponge cake is going to absorb all that moisture, and then you're going to have super soft cake, and that will not really taste nice, because what gives it a beautiful texture and flavor and taste is because of the contrast of the softness of the outer layer because of the cocoa sauce, and then the sponge dryness, not so dry, but the sponge texture of the cake. So if you're going to have a saggy cake because it has soaked a lot of sauce, then that will not taste nice. So pay attention to every instruction that was given in this recipe and I'm super sure that you come out with beautiful Lamington. Enjoy! Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.